So today we meet Michael Danner, well known as a guitarist from Mercyful Fade and later King Diamond, and he has now some new projects. Danner's Trickbag is his newest project. And first question to you: what do you think is the biggest change in the metal business in the last 30 years?
The biggest change, it's far more aggressive now, and it was in the way back in the beginning, of course, with Black Sabbath and so on. You know, it was like a bluesy rock, but you turn up the amps, you know, and most of the singers in the old days were singing melodic. These days, 9 out of 10 metal releases, heavy metal releases, it's growl, you know, and so it's far more aggressive sound-wise, you know, and more. There's a lot of players these days who are very skillful compared to the bands in the old days. You know, they're very technical, perfect, yeah. And that's a good thing, you know. The young musicians take it very serious, you know, to practice scales, you know, and the technique. And the sound is better, you know, because the amplifiers are more expensive and more modern equipment and so on and so on. But what I miss a bit is the influence from the old days, you know. Even though there's a lot of new bands now who play retro, you know, old school 70s style of heavy rock. But it's quite strictly separated these days, you know. It either have to be black metal, death metal, speed metal, very aggressive modern type, or bands who play the old bluesy, psychedelic, hard rock, stoner type of music, you know. So it's like the lines are strict these days, in my opinion. And most of the bands who play these old school, new bands who play old school, sometimes you get a feeling that they're trying hard to sound like what happened way back then, compared to create your own style. In my book, there's a few exceptions. Actually, there's some great bands who play the old style these days. I can mention bands like Rival Sons, for instance. That's quite original, even though it's very inspired of the late 60s, early 70s. So it's quite interesting also to see what's going to happen in the near future concerning heavy metal. You know, that's quite interesting. And the thing is, from my own point of view, I made, let's say I made 30 albums during my lifetime. I have 40 years as a professional guitarist this year, anniversary, 40 years. Yeah. So, of course, I made a lot of records. But what I started listening to in the early 70s were the old masters, you know, Black Sabbath, Deep Purple, Dry Heap, Led Zeppelin, and so on and so on. So for me, it was a great experience to create the Trickbag band, because we play old school 70s style, and I mean that's how I started, and this is where I am now, 35 years later.
That's what I say to you when I hear the album first time. I say to Kim that it is sound a little bit like Van de Graaff Generator, old progressive rock.
Exactly.
And you have extending guitar solos, and I like that because it is a style I like from my youth.
Yeah, sure, I see. Yeah. I see, and a great place as all, because the players in the band are very skillful. And most of the band is old friends of mine, you know. I know the bass player since 1969, you know, the drummer since 1971. So and these guys have been in action during all the years, you know, but playing all kinds of music, different type, not heavy metal. So it was also funny for me to create a band with musicians that were not strictly heavy metal musicians. Only the other guitarist, Peter Domtorp, was from the heavy metal scene. He played in a band called Jane Doe, who released some records in, I believe, late 80s or something. So he was the only guy who had experience with heavy metal music. So So it was a great experience, you know, also to play the music I like. Most of my record collection is that type of music, you know. So why not? Why not?
You think it is more difficult for musicians now to live from music, from the business music? So as you can say you can live by create a band and be famous with that and can live from that, or you think it is more difficult than earlier years?
It was tough in the early years because the money was small and you had to suffer, you know, to be able to go anywhere. When we created Mercyful Fate, it was 6 days rehearsing a week and no money at all. You know, we lived on nearly no food. You know, we had to cheat to go by bus or train, you know, make fake bus cards. So, I mean, it was ridiculous at that point, but we wanted to do it so much, you know. So it was like going to the French religion or something, you know, because you have to.
What's your passion?
You have to give more than most people are willing to give to be able to. But then again, it also goes for people who practice sport, you know, who want to be serious about some kind of sport. You have to give more than what's sane, you know. You have to be able to go to the top. And these days it's hard because a lot of young musicians are very, very skillful, and a lot of young musicians play the same type of music if we talk heavy metal wise, you know. So there's a lot. I mean, way back you could separate bands more easily because there were not that many compared to today. I mean, we have 100 or maybe thousands of excellent speed metal bands, just to mention one genre, you know. So it's tough. And like I said, my son is 17 now, and he plays guitar. He started his own band and so on. I said there's only one way. That's practice. Yeah.
It's like everything.
Yeah, exactly.
So one last question: you think we have a chance to hear the Dallas Trickbag outside of Denmark?
I sure hope so, because we started to get massive airplay in some stations in US. And there's interest from Germany, Sweden, first of all, and of course, because in these countries the genre we're playing is very popular there. So that was actually what I expected. I mean, the Germans and the Swedes, they are neighbors, and they will understand this because it's a good. There's a good market for that type of music. So of course I will, as soon as I get the possibility, I will go to Sweden and Germany first of all, outside Denmark, and play, of course.
Okay. Okay, thanks, Michael.
Thanks.
Det var det. Thanks.
Cool. Så, jeg blev lige færdig der. Ja.